Okay, so we are here with the newest member of Cloud9, FNS. How's your assessment of your guys' tournament?
Obviously, we wanted to make it to playoffs. We didn't do that, so played pretty bad overall. But again, coming into this tournament, we had very little practice, and ever since I've joined the team, we've had very little practice. So it's a given that we're going to be losing at the start, I feel. But we have a boot camp coming up in Copenhagen, and we have like 2 weeks before we play ECS. So hopefully, we show some better results there.
With little practice, but you being an in-game leader, how do you build that relationship? Because obviously, an in-game leader, you kind of need that trust with your teammates. But with such little practice, like you said, I mean, really, since you joined the team, it's been go, go, go.
Yeah. It's definitely tough. As far as like the players go, they adapt really well, and that's good. And everybody gives good suggestions mid-round. But as far as like having things set and having protocols ready, that takes time, and that takes a lot of practice and a lot of repetition and scrim servers. And we haven't had any time to do that. So the good thing is some of the teams that are here, the tournaments that we go to, we use them as scrim partners and we play them in scrims before matches and stuff. Obviously, that being said, though, that's still not enough. We still need a little bit more time with me on the team. And there's still stuff I need to show, and there's still stuff they need to show me. So once we have this 2-week break, I think we'll be a lot better.
I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you want the events, because there's no mimicking like the game style of an actual tournament.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them in Counter-Strike. Would you prefer more of a scheduled layout, right? Almost like think of like the Overwatch League, right? You have the one league, and you know exactly when your matches are going to be. Or do you prefer kind of the Counter-Strike way of esports, where it's more sporadic and anything could happen any weekend if there's a tournament?
Yeah, I actually don't like the schedule the way it is now. I think there's too many events, and especially for a team like Cloud9, even before I joined, they were invited to a lot of events like already. So the second I joined, I played like 22 maps and then went to 3 events. You know, that's understandable to me, what I think, and I think all players should fight for this, is a 2-month break. In my opinion, every sport has an off season. You know, NBA, NHL. Everyone needs downtime, and I don't think like 2 to 3 weeks is enough downtime. I think you need at least 1 to 2 months to really kind of get away from Counter-Strike, and then have like that feeling of missing the game is really, really important to me. And also, teams can't reinvent themselves in 3 weeks. And even if like we have 3-week off time on in December and in the summer, and I think that's a little unfair in my opinion. Well, not unfair, but I feel like there's too many events throughout the year to where I like to go into every event really like 100% prepared. And it's really hard to reinvent yourself as a team when you only have 3 weeks. And 2 of those weeks you're probably spending with your family or taking a break from the game itself. So really you only have 1 week, and you have very little time from tournament to tournament to actually reinvent yourself. So anybody could watch a demo of you and figure out like protocols that you run or stuff like that. And it's really, really difficult to not only just reinvent yourself, but then use that time to practice your new style and see how things work. And maybe even if you want to change the roles, for example, if you want to change an op or an in-game leader, it's almost impossible to do that because you need reps to do that, and that takes time.
For somebody that's been in the scene as long as yourself has, how exciting is it to get a chance to play with a group like Cloud9? Because obviously you were on a big team with CLG, moving over to Complexity for a short stint, and now getting this shot with Cloud9. Is this kind of, from an NA standpoint, the dream for a CS player?
Yeah, for sure. I think Liquid and C9 are the 2 top dogs. They have been for a really long time. Even when I was on CLG, those 2 teams were still really up there and going to more of the events and having more of an impact on the international stage. So that being said, it's definitely like a dream come true for me. But the whole point of me joining this team in overall goals is just to win, right? And we haven't done that yet, and we haven't really even come close in my eyes to winning yet. So we're very inconsistent right now. So if I can't help this team win, then there obviously could be changes. I don't know. But as far as right now, I think everybody's been really patient. Everybody understands that we just don't have enough time to practice, and we're just going to events right now, kind of pugging it. So hopefully these next 2 weeks will determine what we're capable of at ECS.
Did you feel any added pressure when you joining Cloud9? You joined in as an in-game leader, which is always kind of a unique situation there, right?
Yeah.
They just won the major. You're replacing Stewie's spot in the roster. Was there any added pressure to you?
Because they just won the major, yeah. If they hadn't won the major, I would have been fine. There would have been no pressure coming in, because then that means they haven't won anything in a while. But when they won the major, obviously people that was the standard that was set, and then that's when the pressure came for me. So when I got the call to join, it was definitely something that I had to think about a little bit, as opposed to before where I would have just joined in a heartbeat. That being said, though, I love that pressure, and I think it keeps me like humble and keeps me hardworking. And it also, I know for a fact that I could win with this roster, and I think that's really refreshing for me because in my past rosters, not saying that I felt like I can't ever win, but I have had little confidence in my old rosters compared to this one. I've had a lot of confidence in this team, and everybody on this team is very intelligent overall and gives a lot of good ideas and stuff like that. So the pressure kind of just faded away after I realized like how good the players on my team are and how consistent and good we can actually be.
How much are you relying right now on other teammates around you that have been with Cloud9, you know, Tarek being able to call before, using them as your knowledge base essentially in these current events since y'all haven't had time to mesh and gel? Like, how much are you splitting duties with them and relying on them?
I'd say right now it's like 60-40 between me calling 60% of the time and especially calling mostly at the start of the round. But mid-rounding is a lot of Tim. Automatic doesn't get enough credit, I think, for how much mid-gaming he does. But a lot of times we'll be in like 4vx situations or 3vx situations and he'll start just calling. You know, he'll be like, all right, do this, I'm going to fake here, and then you guys go out there. That is, in my opinion, a lot more important than calling the beginning of this round strat, which is because things change, right? And he's really good at adapting, so I trust him a lot in that sense. And a lot of other players like Tarek, Will, and Tyler also put in a lot of mid-game suggestions, but Tim mainly coordinates, so that's really good as well. So in that sense, to answer your question, it's probably 60-40 between me and Tim.
How much were you pushing Tyler to come back when there was the rumors around the announcements of possible retirement? You know, was that a lot of you guys trying to push him to stay, or was that, you know, his decision on his own to make?
At the end, I think it was all his decision. Honestly, like, I think it came down to how well we were doing just second I joined. I know before I joined, he was at the worst he's ever been in, like, mentally when it came to this game, and he just was ready to quit. I didn't really talk to him much about it. I kind of just had my own pressures to deal with joining this team. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to play one game at a time. And luckily for us, we made both EPL and ECS, and we were doing really well online. And I think he felt like, you know what, like, I'm back. And in that sense, he felt like he got his spot back on the team, and he got the trust back from his teammates. So I know they had a lot of problems before I joined, but after I joined, I felt like most of those problems were gone.
Did you ever feel like you would get this opportunity, again, being in the scene as long as you have, and you've been on various NA teams? Did you think an opportunity like this would come up for you with C9?
I was definitely hoping it would, but no, I didn't think so. I definitely didn't think so, even when like I heard that Stewie was going to SK and stuff like that. I definitely didn't think they would message me, but I'm grateful that they did, you know, because obviously this gives me more chances to be able to win and gives the team more chances to win and stuff like that. And I'm really happy playing with the players that I'm playing with now. I love playing with Tarek back on CLG. I love playing with Tim back on TSM. So it was a lot of surprises. Like, there was a lot of surprises when I got the call. Because Soham was the one that messaged me, and it was really a shocking moment for me because I didn't think that they felt like I was a good enough in-game leader to be able to lead a team like that, but I'm happy that they thought that, yeah.
And you just joined Complexity a few weeks ahead, right? It was like 3 weeks or such there. What was that situation like with them? I mean, were they understanding, like, hey, this is, you know, no offense to Complexity, but you have Cloud9 and then Complexity?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they were kind of salty about it, and I understand why they would be, considering, like, I put a lot of work into that team, and I was all in on that roster, you know, but there were times where I wanted to make roster changes on that roster immediately, and I just wanted to win. I really was, like, super hungry to win. Outside of that, though, the organization and Complexity treated me really well. I can't say enough good things about them and Jason Lake and all those people. Like, they treated me really well. They got me my own place in Dallas and stuff like that, and they gave me full control of the roster, the team, everything. And at the end of the day, like, C9 again for me was like a dream. You know, playing for these types of players was a dream. So there's not something that I could decline, and I think they understood that.